Today we've gathered 6 of the most important news from this week in AI and some new AI tools, including some free alternatives to the $200 OpenAI deep research.
Yeah, so we can finally find out how many R's there are in the word strawberry.
Yeah, let's get into it. Take a look at this AI video.
Oh, hey, 你们是怎么发现我的？虽然我知道这样说有点不合适，但是
I'll show you the new model from OmniHuman that only requires a single image to generate incredible results like this.
希望我的小猫永远健康，永远快乐，长命百岁，好不好？
From talking to people to animation to everything. So let's get started. So take a look at this research paper that is OmniHuman 1, rethinking the scale-up of one-stage conditioned human animation models. And what they're doing in the TLDR here says that we can generate human videos based on a single human image and motion signals, etc., or e.g. audio only, video only, or combination of audio and video. It significantly outperforms existing models, generating extremely realistic human videos. And yeah, we're going to take a look at these samples here and explain a little bit what it actually does and how it's different in comparison with some other models. Now, first off, let's just start by watching these generated videos. So here you can see that this girl is on the video, and here we go.
Love's the best place to find lovers, so the bar is where I go. Me and my friends at the table, shots.
So you can just see the lifelike animation of the hands and her body movement and position and everything like that. It's really beautiful.
Fast and I we talk slow. We come over and start up a conversation with just me, and trust me, I'll give it a chance. Now take my hand.
I'm just surprised of the mouth movements.
Yeah, mouth and hands. And, that's, I don't know about you, but I've noticed when trying to create videos with other models, that's quite hard to get right. The
Yeah,
hand
exactly.
movements, playing instruments and also singing, and the way it matches with the voice, that's...
Exactly. And especially the human likeness. Like some AI generated models, they can kind of generate the model of a human, but then it doesn't really have those tiny imperfections and tweaks of the eyes and the hands and the movements and stuff. Let's take a look at this one. And one thing special here that many video generation softwares don't do is interacting with other objects. So take a look at this here. And also, by the way, this is AI audio, which is something I didn't mention before. Just the tiny subtle details of her actually playing the piano and the movement of the microphone here as well while she slams down on the piano is just absolutely incredible. Something I've never seen before. This is a different style, so it's not trying to be cinematic, but let's take a look.
Oh, hey, 你们是怎么发现我的？虽然我知道这样说有点不合适，但是为了你们的健康。
I'm just going to stop it in the middle. Do you see how crystal clear that is?
老想，希望你们记得多吃蔬菜。
I don't know what to say. Like you don't get this clarity at all in many other models, but here, crystal clear.
为了你们的健康着想，希望你们记得多吃蔬菜。
I love this character too.
你是怎么发现我？
Yes. I guess one tiny detail around like maybe halfway during in the video, the eyebrows just disappear for some reason. It's like one tiny detail, but
Oh yeah.
like yeah, apart from that,
Yeah, I didn't see that upon first look, but the eyebrows definitely disappeared. And the implications here for animation studios is ridiculous. Like to animate this is just so ridiculously time consuming, whether you're doing it even with mocap suit and tracking of the face. It's just quite astounding, to be honest.
Once you actually take this one, just learn how to prompt it. That can save so much time and money and resources.
Yeah.
Those movie studios will use.
I can definitely see movie studios starting to use this. They already started using AI video gen, so the world is really turning upside down. Here we also have talking. So it says OmniHuman can support input of any aspect ratio in terms of speech. It significantly improves the handling of gestures, so arms, hands, things like that, which is a challenge for existing methods and produces highly realistic results. The audio and images for some of the test cases are sourced from these links here. So we're going to take a look at this here.
You will become. And I know about this because I had the opportunity to stand on top of the Olympic podium and feel the weight of that gold medal around my neck. And I wouldn't have been there had it not been for the...
So here we can actually see a little bit of not great results, but you see the mouth here a little bit getting behind, and also audio clipping a little bit on some of the words. But just the realism of it in comparison with 11 Labs, for example. 11 Labs doesn't really have those sort of emotional intonations that you kind of need. So it feels like it's really learned and can process data in a completely new way. And it's so freaky. I want to try it so much. Let's take a look at this video here.
Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're good at that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, are we on the same team?
This one actually pulling on the heartstrings a little bit.
What would art be like without emotions? It would be empty. What would our lives be like without emotions? They would be empty of values. So a famous classical poet said, "We hate and we love. Can one tell me why?" Catullus. Science does not answer why questions.
So you can see actually transforming old photos, and if you have any audio as well, you can literally recreate them from photo and audio. And I want to talk about why this is so much better than the older and different deepfake models and animation. So unlike many earlier deepfake or animation approaches that focused mainly on facial expressions or upper body gestures, OmniHuman 1 is capable of animating an entire human figure, capturing not only the nuances of the lip sync and facial movements, but also full body gestures like hand movements and even interactions with objects. So this is huge when you've seen Kling and so forth. This versatility allows for the outputs that are realistic across different aspect ratios, whether portrait, half body, or full body shots. I'm not technically savvy enough to exactly know what's going on in here. I tried to research it a little bit, but for the more detailed people interested in the model, you can see more research on the page. One other thing that's really interesting is that it doesn't only work on a certain style. It actually has a lot of diversity. So if we take a look at some of this in a completely different style, it looks like this.
On the day I was born, I looked in your eyes and felt your sweet love. I knew you were the one when I opened my eyes and heard.
Man, I'm really impressed by the audio.
Yes, this is his position in 2 words. A little while since, he obtained an excellent offer of employment abroad from a rich relative of his, and he had made all his arrangements to accept it.
To me, that one is literally perfect. Here we have more of a sort of lo-fi girl.
Oh, nothing. Just, stretching before we hit the aisles. Shopping is the #1 cause of pulled hamstrings. Well, I didn't know that.
Wow. Just single image, single audio upload. Here we have more of a 3D animation style. Wow. Take a look at that. It's almost completely CGI. It looks almost completely CGI. I think
Almost,
most
just-
people couldn't tell at all from that.
I don't know if you noticed about his face as well. It's like just turn within a second.
Yeah, right? It's just so consistent. I wonder if we get a character that actually turns around, because that's a big test for it. Let's take a look at this next one.
Boring is easy. Everybody can be boring, but you're good at that. Life is not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if life is a game, are we on the same team?
Wow. Something we didn't talk about is the expression of the face. Like when it actually says this phrase here.
Not a game, people. Life isn't a cereal either. Well, it is a cereal. And if
Like that little pause there where it says, well, life is a cereal. And then it actually kind of thinking. And then you can see his eye movements right after that change to more of a thinking. Just take a look again.
And if life is a game, are we on the same?
It's exactly like a human.
It's almost as if the model was trained to be in sync between video and audio, right?
Yeah, it can definitely be that. Maybe it's even already trained himself on many TikTok videos that are doing this sound, right? And then kind of capturing their facial expressions.
Yeah, I was gonna say that because that model was made by the same company that's behind TikTok, right? So, I guess to kind of use some of the data, maybe, to train the
Yeah,
model.
absolutely, right? ByteDance coming in again with another model. I just love to see it.
希望我的小猫永远健康，永远快乐，长命百岁，好不好？
I think on this one, the audio was almost too perfect. It's almost as if she had a mic just right next to her mouth, right? When she was speaking. It's almost like too perfect.
Yeah, this one I think the internet will really love.
希望我的小猫永远健康，永远快乐，长命百岁，好不好？
Yeah, there's a little bit of lip sync issues here. But again, what else can we say other than like it's incredible? I don't even care to try to compare it to the other models, even though that would be really interesting when I get my hands on this, or if this goes out, like for the example of the boy here. That was the moment when I was like, hey, this is actually quite dangerous to give to the world in the sense of the ethics and stuff. And we're going to get into that a little bit at the end here as well. But let's keep enjoying these videos. More half-body cases with hands. We all love hands. AI models have a really hard problem with hands. So how does it do?
Give people something to believe in, and they will move from you and me to us. And
that could be like, if I had a video like that, and if that was me, I think this is like where we see the end of creators and actually starting the real use case of AI clones and the most shocking to me is really the audio. Like if this is just a tiny audio sample, maybe 30 seconds to a minute, and it can actually give this audio that has the emphasis on the correct words, that's ridiculous. Let's keep going here with this guy.
I work, when I get the accolades, when I go in fleets and flights, and when people say that they have read my autobiography or they have read my books, then I understand that what...
I feel like I'm watching an actual real YouTube video.
This was how I was making an impact in the lives of my 60 students. So
another incredible, we're just going to keep going through it. This actually looks like a Mid-Journey generation. Maybe it is.
我不后悔遇见你，更不后悔喜欢上你。谢谢你给我带来的快乐，只希望你每天都开心。
Another great one, and this looks like we'll see.
Ladies and gentlemen, as a new client of Home Instead and friend and former neighbor of Lori and Paul Hogan, I am so honored to be chosen to offer the invocation this evening.
Bro, it's done. It's over.
It's the only thing I don't like about it is that she seems like she's in the studio, but obviously you can't see she's like on the outside. But the sound sounds like she's in like some kind of closed studio or something like that.
Yeah, it seemed like they took the audio from somewhere else and then they took the photo from the beach. I bet if they actually trained it on the beach audio and the beach woman here, was it literally, did they just put this photo here, in here, and then it generated
Looks like
all of this? Like the wrinkles of the face is crystal clear. The mouth and the wrinkles around the mouth is completely clear. And the lip sync is just absolutely incredible, even with wrinkles.
Just
and
imagine
all.
if we had beach sound as well, just some quiet sound in the background of waves and wind, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's just incredible. Here are some more portrait cases. And I actually want to read really quick here. Some input images and core and audio came from TED, so that's why you maybe hear like it's in a church. And this one actually used Pexels, the free copyright-free place. So that's pretty interesting. Here we also have more detailed portrait aspect ratios. So take a look at this.
Όταν κάποιος είναι ερωτευμένος, μπορούμε να πούμε την έκφραση «τον πονάει το δοντάκι».
If my mom sent a video like that, I wouldn't ever know. I'm getting more and more freaked out as we go through this.
And just explore all the music there are options out there, but don't just stick with the song that everyone thinks is amazing. Back in the 80s, men, remember? No man, no man. So no one was.
Dang. Okay, that was.
I can now be your music teacher as well and play piano together. My prediction is like news. Man, how can people really know what to trust anymore after this, right?
Now I can see why they haven't released it yet. People are not ready. That's the reason.
And it's definitely something to take very seriously. I really wonder how Kling and also Runway are thinking about it. Like if they actually get a model that's really, really good like this, should they even release it? I mean, they definitely are going to release it. And yeah, we on the side definitely have to make sure that we are opening our eyes, because this can really fool anyone, even me that has a really keen eye for the glitches and stuff like that. Again, we have another accommodate multiple body poses and singing forms. And here's another example. I wonder really if it has your tone of voice and it can sing in your style. There are so many people on Instagram that is definitely going to start using that right away. And then we won't have any way of knowing who's actually great or not, in a sense.
I guess, yeah, with that, you can just make anyone sing. You can even make me sing well.
Yeah, like you can make my nephew, my 3-year-old nephew, I can get him to sing. And when he sees that, he's going to be super excited. And then we're going to share that on social media. And then it's going to be very, very I really don't know what's going to happen if these things go out. And I'm specifically talking about the audio model here that is just so ridiculously real. Like this is far beyond 11 Labs that is currently really, really good. But the intonation, the punctuation, the pauses, it's not as good as this.
But then we don't know which, because obviously they said it can take video or audio or both as an input, right? We don't know which clips, have audio as an input.
Oh, yeah,
maybe
that's right.
most of them do.
Yeah, that's really true. Yes, many of them actually seem to be trained on TED Talks and stuff like that. And yes, for the videos that we were seeing up here, I can almost guarantee that it's trained on video and a little bit of audio. But even take that into consideration, like if it's either 30 seconds of audio or if it's 30 minutes that you have to do with 11 Labs, it's still really, really high quality. So a completely new workflow, and I can't wait to get my hands on it. If you have any connections, send them my way. There's a link in the description to our email. But the ethic concerns here. The images and audios used in these demos are from public sources or generated by models and are solely used to demonstrate the capabilities of this research work. If there are any concerns, please contact us and we will delete it in time. The template of this webpage is based on yada yada. And yeah, for the ethics of this, that's really the hardest part. The deepfake, the dead internet theory, unleashing this to the web, and if you can create hundreds of these in minutes, it's really going to change the world more drastically than we can ever that can ever happen before. And on top of that, it can really go into like this sort of cyberbullying and defamation of character and fake news, and that's spreading rampantly because nobody cares to do deep research and actually find out if the information is true or not. So yeah, we're gonna see this popping up on the internet soon, and hopefully we can also use it to make better videos for animation studios, for creators, for ad agencies. Just time will tell what's gonna happen with this.
Crazy times ahead. That's one thing for sure.
So ChatGPT Deep Research is available for $200 per month, but we found a couple open source alternatives that are free, and we're going to show you a couple use cases that people are using it for. So you probably already have seen the launch of Deep Research, and if you don't know what it is, it's basically a reasoning model as well as a search model that is a little bit more intense. And what it does, and I'm overly simplifying this a lot now, but how it does it is that it goes and research in one path, and then it might actually say, hey, you know what? That path is not correct. I'm going to go in another path. And then it goes to the other path and finds more deep research like that. So it's kind of like a tree instead of what you might get before, which is more of a line or a squiggly circle line that never gets to the real answer anyways. But there are a couple of really cool examples that we found here. And the first news here is that it's now rolled out to 100% of all Pro users, including UK, EU, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland.
Damn, EU got as well. That was quick this time.
Yeah, apparently because it's not... what was the reasoning? It was because it wasn't really like an action model that can do a lot of things for you. It was apparently okay to open. And you can see here, like the EU are only governing automated actions like the operator, I guess, from this bot here on Twitter. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that coming forward in EU. Ethan had a really cool deep research take here on X, where he said, you'll never guess the report that took deep research the longest to generate of any I made before. 30 pages, 10,000 words, and actually super interesting to read. Link to the full document in the reply. So you checked out this article, right, Mike?
Probably the longest one I was able to find. The 30 pages. Just think, for ChatGPT to generate all of this, something that we didn't quite get before.
Yeah, like, that's definitely right.
Before you had to beg ChatGPT to generate even 1,000 words, right? And now you can just do that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like full 10,000 well-researched article, or it's basically a yeah, it's just massive here, covering the entire screen, making the research paper. And for us, on the sense of use cases, it's really like thing better. Like we got O3 Mini last week, and the week before that we got DeepSeek R1, and I wanted to bring up this one image that we had, and this kind of goes into detail how much better this can be in comparison with R1 and O3 Mini. So there's a test here actually comparing the O3 and the O3 low and the O3 high. And these are models that we don't have access to. And you can see here on the scale, it's actually a score, so how well it performed, as well as the cost. And you see that the O3 high here had the cost of almost $5,000, and the O3 low at a fairly decent price. But you can see the actual results in comparison to the O3 Mini is like a 35 in comparison to a 75 on the O3 low. So I think that's kind of a little bit of a gap that we are crossing over when you are actually going into deep research. You're going into this territory here that other people don't have access to, is way smarter. It's a lot slower and a lot more expensive, but it just goes to show how good it can be. I couldn't find any information if they're actually using O3 Mini in the back end, but I'm assuming that they're using some more advanced models.
Oh, it was O3 Mini, but I could be wrong.
So this one, he did a deep research with ChatGPT here, and he basically says consultancy firm are so effed. He basically has a standard prompt here. I'll turn off the music because it's just dramatic music. Insert field here, and then he uses deep research, and you can see that it actually has some questions that it's giving to you, and then it's actually doing the deep research, and you can see all of that on the side here, going through a bunch of different websites, and then by the end of it, he actually gets an incredible, you can see here, introduction and the entire thing. Just copy and then go into gamma.app. And if you don't know Gamma before, it's a template presentation maker. It can also make a website for you and some other things. But there you go. You literally did your business. This is your business presentation done in literally 5 minutes. I don't know how long it actually took to think with deep research. It takes a little bit longer to actually generate the result. But yeah, take a look at this beautiful presentation.
I wish I had this back in the day when I had to create those. I could I could just send a document and forget about it. That would be awesome. And in the meantime, I found the answer to your question earlier, and the official blog article, it states uses the upcoming version of OpenAI O3 model that's optimized for web browsing.
Got you. Yep. So they are moving a little bit more upwards towards the newer models. And I think that O3 Mini was really just a reaction to DeepSeek R1. It was like, hey, everybody go to DeepSeek. And then it became the most popular thing ever. And then it just crashes and nobody can use it anymore. And I still can't use it. I tried today. I was like, it's just, sorry, we have too many users right now.
Same.
So O3 Mini was just like, Sam is like, hey, we got all these models in the back end. Let's give him a cheap one. Let's give him a good one. And they'll be happy and they can use it. So that's like the reflection there. There's a couple of other examples here of people doing really interesting things with the deep research. But you can obviously think yourself through what you might want to use this for yourself. But this guy had some very interesting insights. So you can see here that Dan Shipper said, OpenAI just launched an autonomous research assistant, Deep Research. I've been testing it for a few days. And it's like a bazooka for the curious mind. Give it a question and it will autonomously search the web or provided sources to compile an answer. It does this over many turns, taking between 1 and 30 minutes to return a response. It returns massive, well-researched reports, synthesized from many different sources, something running 10K plus words. Thinking about it like a double-decker tour bus, but you're only the passenger and the city you're touring is the sum total of human knowledge. Very interesting.
I love how you put that.
Yeah, just like I'm imagining London as just information just plastered throughout the entire city. You can see a few things we had it to do. Write a comparative history of every from 2020 to today. Read chapter 1 of War and Peace. Trawl through recent 10Ks to find unreported financial irregularities and research and compile a completely new wardrobe from a few photos. Of course, there are a few limitations. Sometimes it doesn't fully cite where a piece of information came from. There is no stop button yet, so if it's going off the rails, you have to start over. But it's very clear a peek into the future of human AI collaboration for knowledge work, exciting times. So for the deep research, who is this for, right? I could see this being very applicable to if you do any sort of scientific research in any field, and you actually need to cite a lot of different sources and try to come up with your thesis of something. It could be really a great alternative for the people that want to get as much knowledge as possible through many iterations that is the closest to true as possible, but at the cost of $200. So there are a couple of other alternatives. So we
just
found...
Before we move on to the alternatives, just worth to mention at this point, even the official blog article states that this model can make mistakes. So if you're planning to use it for research or for any other purpose, really, just keep that in mind, that model still sometimes struggles with choosing between what's real information and what's just a rumor or what's the fake news, right? And it can hallucinate as well. So
yep,
something to keep in mind.
Yeah, I also have hallucinations happen with O3 Mini. So take care of going into the cited source and actually trying to find the exact thing that they're asking for or that you want your answer to be, and then find that source. And then sometimes it's actually referring to Reddit, you know? So take that with a grain of salt. I did some research today and it's like, oh, Reddit thinks that this thing is better than that thing. How true is that? It's hard to know. But we have some open sourced versions here. So this one is David introducing Deep Research, my own open source implementation of OpenAI's Deep Research Agent. Get the same capacity without paying $200. You can even tweak the behavior of the agent with adjustable breadth and depth. It runs it for 5 minutes or 5 hours. It'll adjust, it will auto adjust. So take a quick look at this.
Okay, so OpenAI's deep research feature is pretty cool, and Google's deep research is very cool as well. And all these deep research agents follow more or less the same type of architecture, where they take a query, they do the initial run of research, they have learnings, and then these are learning to refine the query and just keep deep diving recursively until you get to the final report. That's more or less how all these deep researchers work. So I created my own just as a very simplified open source version. So let's run it here. This is all in TypeScript. So when you first run the script, it's going to ask you what would you like to research. So let's actually research. I want to know how NVIDIA's new RTX 5000 series stacked up. Right? They just announced it, so I really want to know. And what's interesting I did is that I actually made it configurable, the breadth and depth of the research. So breadth is basically how much sort of total type of content do I want to find. So let's just, I want to just do a quick demo. So let's do like step 2.
All right, a quick explanation of how it works. And yeah, that makes sense with the recursive thinking. Like it's basically just answering the question, stopping itself and say, is that question correct? And then it does more research. And then you can do it again. Is that answer correct? And it can just continue forever and ever and ever. And yeah, that's something that he has been doing here. And you can see here a couple of, it creates the learnings and then it's researching deeper. And I think he can stop it at some point where he's like, yeah, I'm actually happy with this. Let's take a quick look here.
That's actually informing the next round of research. It's just going to keep going, deep dive into that, rabbit hole more and more until it gets to the final depth and it's going to write that final report. So anyways, I'll stop there. This will take 10 minutes. So I'll stop there. And but that's generally how these...
So that's pretty impressive. I haven't gotten the time to check it out myself, but I highly recommend going and checking it out with David DZHNG on Twitter and taking a look. Or you might be more fascinated by this other one, R1 Deep Researcher. So this is a fully local research assistant with DeepSeek R1. Olama, give R1 a topic and watch it search the web, learn, reflect, search more, repeat as long as you want. And it gives you a report with sources at the end, all open source. And really interesting that it's running locally. So take a look at this.
This is a fully local web research assistant inspired by Google's Deep Research. So what you're going to do is go to this configuration. You can put it in any local LLM hosted by Olama. It can set how many times you want it to loop. Put it in any research topic. Just hit submit. Now it's going to use whatever local LLM I select. In this case, DeepSeek AB is going to generate a search query. It's then going to run web search. It's going to summarize the results from web search. And this is where you can see R1 thinking. And you can see the results stream. Now it reflects on what it learned to generate a new question, kicks off another round of web search, gets new documents, thinks about them, to extend the summary, build more knowledge. Now, what's cool about using R1 is you can really see its thinking pattern, updates the summary and its learnings, reflects again, identifies knowledge gaps, generates a follow-up question, does more web research, and it'll do this loop as many times as you can configure. Now, this is all running locally, so there's no API cost associated with it. It'll just burrow as long as I want. So it's a very fun way.
That's very fascinating that it's actually running locally.
That's true, yeah. So you can have it on your own machine and just don't pay for the model.
Yeah,
it's very, very interesting how the graph works. Like you've got this loop of feedback. Like it will do research, summarize it, and then think about what it found. Like, is it actually true, or do I need to adjust anything and just go back? I like how it's presented.
Yeah, very much. With a reflection of the summary, it reads it again, finds information gaps, then research again, and goes through the exact same thing again and again. I actually really like this as a way of just thinking in general. Like if you were to be a human and you have a problem and you get a solution, what I like to do for myself is just ask other people what their response is. Like when I have my mentors for different goals, I like ask them, hey, what do you think is the answer? And then I ask another friend, what do you think is the answer? And then I get all these answers back into sort of my summary of what is true and what is wrong. So that is R1 Deep Researcher. I think this one is a little bit more for me, to be honest. I would really love to set this up. You can see the code here is, and I forgot to mention his name, Lance Martin, Olama Deep Researcher. I would really love to set this up and test it myself because I really like to run things locally these days. And the only thing I'm missing is the search. So if this can help me, that will be incredible. And I won't have to pay a single dime, at least not $200.
That's always a good thing.
So there you have it, deep research and some use cases and the open sourced models. Go test them out. So the new Gemini 2.0 will save developers thousands of dollars because their API price is so low. But how does it compare to DeepSeek R1 and ChatGPT o3 Mini that just came out we'll take a look at the quality, speed, and pricing. So as you can see, there were 3 new models that now are accepted or available to everyone. So this was actually unveiled back in, I think, September to developers. But now it's actually available through the Gemini Google Studio here in the AI Studio and in Vertex AI, so you can actually use it as a developer. And you can see that the differences here is that they've added the Gemini 2.0 Flash. So that is a reasoning model that is sort of like the 0.1 or 0.3 Mini. They have a Flash Lite, which is a faster model, more cost effective, and it's smaller as well, lower quality. And they've also introduced the Gemini 2 Pro, and that is, think of it like not a 0.3 or 0.1 or R1, it's more of a ChatGPT 4.0. So it's just a great language model without the reasoning. And yet, like, they are always flexing their context window, like how much they can actually pump in there. So that's pretty cool. But let's take a look at the quick summary here of model features. So you can see here, you have release status generally available today. So that's great. Multimodal inputs, text output, image output as well in the Flash model. That's pretty interesting. I don't think that Google has such good image models though, so not sure about that. Audio output as well. They do actually have quite good audio. Multimodal live API. This one is incredible because we've seen it with actually seeing your screen and then answering back to you. That's really interesting. You can see the context window here, 1 million, 1 million, and 2 million for O2 Pro. You're gonna just upload like 10 books into the into the input,
or all your company files.
Yeah, that's right. If you have a lot of data and you want to chat to it, it's definitely very interesting to see. Structured outputs, function calling, search as a tool. So no search in the general Flash Lite preview. And code execution as a tool is also not available in the 2.0 Flash Lite, the middle here. So the thing that everybody cares about is like, how good is it really? So I'm going to go to this website, and I found this week as really great, artificialanalysis.ai, that can basically compare all the different models. So I just clicked here and I checked out the models. And as you can see, you have them here on the site. As you can see in the quality versus price, and we're going to talk a lot about how cheap it is, especially for developers. You can see that Gemini 1.5 Flash goes right here in extremely cheap, but still has a 75-ish score on this benchmark here. That's almost where Llama 3.3 70B, DeepSeek V3 is a little bit higher. You can see O3 Mini is right up here, and DeepSeek R1 as well is right up here. But you see the cost, quite expensive, $3 for DeepSeek R1, $2 for O3 Mini, and here you get it at the fraction of a cost with a reasoning model. So that's pretty huge. You can also see here the quality versus output speed. The output speed of Gemini 1.5 Pro and quality here as well. You see output speed is on the right side. You see it's actually doing pretty good. But when it comes to the reasoning models, they're obviously quite a lot slower because it has the reasons and things like that. But on the side of comparing it with O3 Mini and the Gemini 2.0 Flash here, it actually is performing really, really well. And then I want to tell you guys about the price. So we have taken a look at a bunch of these models and have a price table for them. So the credit here goes to Theo T3.gg. He made a great video on it and he summarized these into a table. You can see here that ChatGPT 4.0, the input price is $2.5. and the output is $10. So compare this to Gemini 2.0 Flash, it's $0.10. So literally,
it's like a fraction of the cost, even cheaper than DeepSeek V3 and R1. If you can notice, as you notice from the table.
Exactly right. It's really even cheaper than R1, which we last podcast were talking about how extremely cheap R1 was. It's almost a fraction of the cost of that, with the output being like 40 cents versus $2.19. So this is going to massively reduce any cost that you have that really needs the advanced reasoning if you are using any tool or if you're using the API. And I want to also show you that I input them into a graph. So here's the prompt and here is the actual results. And you can see that ChatGPT 0.1 is extremely expensive in comparison. So you see $60 here for the output, and you see $14-ish here for the output. So I actually removed ChatGPT 0.1 from the table. And here you can see it more clearly that ChatGPT 4.0 still really expensive for the input and even more expensive for the output. So yeah, we definitely have to change our, if we use it in automations and stuff like that, I think it's a way better to use other models.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, I think we're gonna have to rethink our strategy when it comes to AI models.
Yeah, definitely. It's really interesting to see that it's getting so much cheaper so fast too.
I guess it's thanks to DeepSeek.
Yeah. Thank you, China. We love you, and keep giving us more cool stuff, but don't hide it from us, okay? Just give it all open source to us. That's what we want. But yeah, the big deal here is really just take a look at DeepSeek R1 at almost $2. And here, this tiny sliver, you get the 2.0 Flash and the 2.0 Flash Lite. This is going to save you a bunch of money, but is it as good as well? We had this article here from actually December 20th. So developers have been using this a bit. And this is the two Flash thinking versus ChatGPT 0.1. And he actually concluded with that. My initial impression is that it's not smarter than ChatGPT 0.1 and even the smaller 0.1 mini model. So, it really is a challenge between quality versus price. It's always going to be like that. And think about it if you need to use reasoning from a very simple standpoint, use the cheaper models. If you only have to do certain specific tasks that basic AI models can run, use those simple models. And if you really need to do the deep research and you really need to make them think for a long time, use that. And how we use that internally is when I use automations, for example, I might use the more expensive model in an automation in the beginning. And then when it comes to formatting and things like that, we don't need an expensive model to run that. So this, I'm not sure if we're going to jump right over to Google Flash, because we're not running like hundreds of thousands of calls and token inputs. But it's something definitely to keep in mind that if you have been using ChatGPT 4.0 for your automations or anything in the past, you can really save a lot of money by changing to something that is very similar in the output and input results.
Yep. And yeah, we're gonna test it for our automations. And as you say, if it's a very kind of simple task that you don't need much input from maybe creative thinking of the model, then Gemini is more than what you need.
So the Beatles just won their 8th Grammy 5 decades after they broke up, all because of AI. And this story is really fascinating. And you might have actually heard about the Beatles launching an album with the song Now and Then. So I want to kind of recap what actually happened, what did they do, even when two of the artists are dead in the band. And you can see here is Sean Ono Lennon accepting the Best Rock Performance Grammy on behalf of the Beatles for the new song Now and Then at the 2025 Grammys. So essentially what happened, and this was a really long work in progress. So John Lennon, he actually recorded a song on tape shortly before he was killed in 1980. His widow, Yono Oko, provided the tape on which it was recording to the band afterwards, but the quality of the recording was not great, bad even. So you can kind of think him sitting on the piano and actually just recording that, and with the technology of recording on tape. Obviously, that is quite old. And when we listened to Now and Then, it was very difficult because John was sort of hidden in a way, says Ringo Starr in the making of Short. Every time I wanted a little bit more of John's voice, recall McCartney, this piano came through and clouded the picture. And in those days, of course, we didn't have the technology to do the separation. So they actually tried to use this tape back in 1995. They all came together, and there's this incredible short documentary here about how they made it. So they tried to come together in 1995 and rescue the song, but they actually ran out of steam. Like they recorded the first song and the second song, and they came to this one and just like, it's a little bit too cloudy. We were paying a lot of attention to the technical restoration that ultimately led us to develop a technology which allows us to take any soundtrack and split all the different components into separate tracks based on machine learning, said Jackson in the short. So we've covered tools like this in the past on the channel, separating tracks, making them all into MIDI notes if you want to. And the technology has gone really, really far. And they said, we were wondering which tool they used, and they call it MAL. As they call it, is a version of audio isolation techniques that have came a long way in the last few years. And this is machine learning models. Now, this is actually there are a couple of tools, I can't remember which one, that you could use for exactly this now. Almost like even DaVinci has this, even Zoom has kind of this built into the software as well. But I want to show you a timestamp in the song itself where they actually finally was able to clear the voice and come through in perfect clarity. And that's when they said, yeah, we need to make a song about this. Let's take it and run with it. And it sounds like this.
All because of you.
Since Peter took John.
And that comes a long way from the piano that was played all the way back here. I'm not going to share how it sounded like, but it was really, really grainy and didn't sound as good. And this got them very excited. It was like they got Lennon in the studio again, and they were like, I can do a bass line on this. I can do some strings on this. Hey, can we get the drums on? And they were just, cooking. They were in the kitchen cooking. He says, there it was, John's voice, crystal clear. Now we could mix it and make a proper record of it. And here, to hear John's voice, that's the thing we should cherish. Reviving an old, somebody that was dead, somebody that was extremely close to them, somebody that literally lived a life that nobody else can even try to compare with. It's the closest thing we'll ever come to having him back in the room, said Ringo. So absolutely beautiful story here. I highly recommend checking out this if you haven't already. It's like a year old, but since this news came out about them winning a Grammy, it's just absolutely incredible. And I wonder, Mike, what do you think is the coolest thing about this?
It was so fun because I first saw the headline and it said something like, oh, the Beatles won a Grammy thanks to AI. And I was like, what? What did they do? And kind of headline maybe didn't sell the news properly. I think, because it almost made me feel like, they use some sort of AI tool to maybe generate the actual voice, right, of the person singing, or the audio or something in the background, right? Maybe they use AI for this, but actually, the truth is they used AI to kind of restore the old audio that obviously wouldn't be possible if we didn't have AI. And I am, well, I can't say I'm against the use of AI in creatives like this, but for this particular kind of use case, I'm not here to judge at all, but I would say I approve. I give it a thumbs up for how they use AI to actually just create and just bring back an old song that was dead, right? They couldn't use the original audio, but now thanks to AI they did, and yeah, very very exciting. So
yeah, that they could bring back something that was not usable, fix it, and then actually make it usable. And of course, the story as a whole is a beautiful story. And that's like one way of using it. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of like picture restoration. Like you might see people with old photos of their grandpa and it's all torn up. And you have tools that can fix that and restore it and actually color it as well, which is really beautiful. Now, obviously, this is a very different method than actually generating the music yourself, which is something that everyone can do. And I want to say that I have personally generated a full album with AI that you can find on Happy on Spotify. And the music is not Beatles quality. It is fully AI generated. But I found it extremely fascinating to actually try to create my own album. And the tool I used for this is called Suno.com. And here you can literally create any music that your heart desires. And it actually sounds really good as well. I'll share a little bit of a song that I tried
By the way,
make.
This is not a promo video. The tool is just really good. That's why we show it.
Yeah, it also feels a little bit bad comparing real musicians from the past that are exceptional in what they did to the new. Well, I guess it's also a shift from the old generation to the new generation as well. Because my take on this is nature evolving and technology evolving. And it's not like we're going to go back in time, but we're definitely going to go forward in time. And to see what the future of music is kind of scary and really real right now. But let me share one track that I think this one was quite unique and interesting. Let me go I'm going to skip to the good part. Yeah, that's like Beatles, right? That's the music Beatles were making.
That's almost. I mean, you would have to have an expert to be able to tell that apart from like Beatles song, but yeah, pretty close. Pretty close.
So there you have it. The old school Beatles being able to completely make John Lennon's voice very clear, and the future of music with Suno AI. I couldn't find more complete opposites if I tried. So yeah, but I highly recommend anyone that wants to create an album, try out Suno, and yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah, give the tool a go. It's pretty cool. I tried it myself, created a few songs, and yeah, when you have some spare time, just give Andy's album a listen. Maybe it's not the Beatles level, but it's pretty cool. So Happy.
Yeah, just give him a little taste. This is all lo-fi. Just music you can work to, just music you can chill to and get productive. And if you like Americano latte a lot better, pick the one that you want. Let's jump to the next one. SoftBank and OpenAI just announced a Crystal Intelligence, a $3 billion annual investment and partnership. We're going to go all about it. And then EU has joined the AI race. Let's take a look. So as you can see here, SoftBank's Masayoshi Son says AGI will arrive much earlier than he thought. So if you follow the AI news, you basically saw that we just got $500 billion partnership between SoftBank, OpenAI, and a couple of other actors. This is more of an action-oriented, what are we going to do? So yeah, as you can see, we'll spend $3 billion deploying OpenAI tech across SoftBank companies and claims it will revolutionize business and AI agents through a new AI system called Crystal Intelligence. And one of the reasons for this is that Masayoshi said that AGI will come much earlier. And this was because it was explained recently to him by his partner, Sam Altman. And this comes from the article here that happened last year, December 5th, that says, my guess is that we'll hit AGI sooner than most people in the world think, and it will matter much less. So here he's actually talking about, hey, we'll get this amazing technology really quick, but then there's so much inertia that people have done things so long, and it's kind of like changing over to a new thing and a new way of doing it is really hard. So we will get it, and then we'll find people that actually use it, and then we'll find people actually getting left behind really, really quickly. So that's why SoftBank is a part of Japan. So Japan has also entered the race in a sense with a connection with OpenAI. And this also goes to ARM, which is another company as well. And they will use the tech to drive innovation and boost productivity across the company, while SoftBank Corp plans to automate over 100 million workflows to boost efficiency and enable the creation of new business opportunities within its ecosystem. So the joint venture will market Crystal Intelligence exclusively to major companies in Japan. So this is a pretty serious, hey, we are going to enter the race. We're going to use all these things and actually make a real world impact in our country. The actual quotes from them, so this is from SoftBank themselves. This was something that they released. And you can see that the responses about this partnership comes from both OpenAI, ARM, the SoftBank Corp, and those are the ones that I want to read now. So Masayoshi Son, chairman and CEO, said, "We are thrilled to bring Crystal Intelligence, advanced enterprise AI that is customized specifically for each company to the market in a big way. This initiative will not only transform the way SoftBank Group operates, but also revolutionize the way companies work in Japan and around the globe. SoftBank Group is fully committed to leveraging the new products across our entire organization and utilize our great partnership with OpenAI to drive the AI revolution forward." So that's very interesting to have. He's obviously not the leader of Japan, I think. I'm not sure how big SoftBank is in comparison to like other companies in Japan, but it's obviously, it must be a really huge business. And to see that they are saying, we're going to start using it now, that's pretty interesting, right?
Yeah, that is. And it must be pretty big and important in Japan since they just took a part in the 500 billion investments that Donald Trump announced a couple of weeks ago. And that kind of, to me, that kind of indicates that Japan is trying to kind of secure its place in AI. Obviously, they don't have any major AI company like US does. But, just their way of getting the most out of, AI and, as I said, securing its place.
Yeah, and it definitely is in a really great way as well. I really like Japan's position in this. So it's very cool to see what they're actually going to do. And also on top of that, Japanese businesses are run so smoothly. So to see them actually implement AI into their systems, I think that there are so many people that can learn from what Japan will do in the implementation things. So Sam said, CEO of OpenAI, of course, this partnership between SoftBank will accelerate our vision for bringing transformative AI to some of the world's most influential companies, starting with Japan. René Haas, CEO of ARM, said ARM is partnering with OpenAI and SoftBank to drive unprecedented productivity across the global technology ecosystem, setting new benchmarks and building a future in which AI agents span from edge to cloud on ARM. We are at the forefront of the AI revolution, and our high-performance, energy-efficient compute is going to be critical to advancing the crystal intelligence. I actually really like the name of the crystal intelligence. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does. It sounds very, very clean and futuristic.
Yeah. This other guy from SoftBank, president and CEO, said, we're extremely pleased to be partnering with OpenAI to realize our long-term vision of building next-gen social infrastructure with the aim of implementing AI into society. SoftBank Corp has been promoting various initiatives, including the build-out of distributed AI data centers, and we know what data center we're talking about here, and Japan top-level AI computing platforms. I'm greatly looking forward to seeing how this can perform Japan's business through our partnership with OpenAI. By supporting the implementation and utilization of crystal intelligence, will transform the management and operational practices of our clients.
So I just found what companies are under the SoftBank group, and I don't see any huge names here. SB Northstar, Hyatt Corporation, Starfish. Does that ring any bells?
The North Star, I think, is a car company, right? Or is that something else?
SB. I think it sounds like a subsidiary of, because it's got SB at the front.
Okay, so it's
nothing
probably
really
more financial than anything else.
Yeah, it looks like it. So just kind of the way I see it is just a way of bringing AI to Japan's enterprises and the companies that operate in Japan.
Yeah.
So that hopefully they will be even more efficient at the operations.
For me, when it comes to financial tasks with AI and spreadsheets and people sitting in large buildings, like in New York, for example, where there's just buildings and floors on top of floors on top of floors with people sitting in this office just crunching numbers. The prediction for me is just literally, I think a lot of that is going away. The computer can do the math and the computer can do the spreadsheets. And we're seeing it right here, I think. Starting in Japan, SoftBank. If you're working for SoftBank, maybe get some certificates for...
or any other major enterprise in Japan. I would actually be... I don't want to say worried, because I don't like just scaring people like this. It's not the kind of voice I want to have. But it'll definitely have its benefits. Having those AI systems in place.
Maybe stay in the company for a little bit longer, learn everything they're doing, then take it overseas. Install that in their company. Anyways, Japan has entered the race in a very partnership way. America, Japan, seeing it come together here is quite interesting. But then we have Europe and the EU. So what happened this week is that we now have a plan of investing into a open large language model. It's called something like a Open Euro LLM. the first Digital Europe program funded project to reveal the seal. And yeah, there's a couple of interesting names here. First of all, this is all called STEP. So it's a new EU initiative to enhance European industrial competitiveness by supporting. Did they use deep research on writing this? Like the most technical level, please.
Probably did, to be fair.
But yeah, if you care about European industrial competitiveness, by supporting critical technologies, including artificial intelligence, the awarding of STEP seal, so this is something we're going to go over in a minute, is a EU mark of excellence aimed at helping projects in accessing additional EU funds while boosting their investment profile of projects that receive the seal. So now you might be thinking, hey, that sounds interesting and all. What is the seal? But before that, let me show you exactly how much of a total budget they have. 37.4 million euros.
37.4 million euros. That's about how much OpenAI spends every day, right? Something like that.
Yeah, it's like my API cost.
By the way. Yeah, that's just API cost. Yeah, that was a joke, by the way. I don't know how much OpenAI spends, but seems quite low to me.
We just talk about 500 billion, and then we talk about Japan spending 3 billion annually, and here we got Europe with 37 million. And why is that, right? Like, why is it so low? Well, personally, I believe that there aren't really that many investors that seek Europe for their, hey, let's go and invest there because there is a massive growth. That's already happening in America and now with the Chinese companies. And we're seeing exactly this. US, ChatGPT, XAI, Meta AI, China, DeepSeek, and Qwen 2, by the way. This is an old meme. And Europe going with a open bottle design. If you don't know, you're from the US,
this is exactly what engineers do in Europe, and I've got live proof of this. There you go.
Yeah, if you check out all the bottles in all of Europe now doesn't have a cap that pops off. It actually stays on the thing. And so that's what Europe is working on. And we can kind of see it.
That's where the money goes.
Investment. Yeah, that's where the money goes as well. We can see it openly with the investment. So let me talk a little bit about the STEP and the seals. So essentially, you can go into STEP, which is an investment opportunity for new companies that are in the AI space, digital, technological, you know what I mean. Clean and resource efficient technologies and biotechnologies. So it's basically a kind of startup founding program for both for investors that are looking for like quick hits and massive growth, and for companies that actually want funding from this the STEP program. Let me see if we have anything. Seal. Yeah, so STEP STEP introduces a new STEP seal, an EU label for high quality projects, granting STEP projects visibility and facilitating their access to other possible sources of funding. We're actually able to find exactly, if you're from Europe right now, you can actually get funding, which is quite cool. And we found the actual companies that they have invested in. So here you can see the STEP Seals dashboard that has a detailed list of the project proposals that have been awarded with the STEP Seal by the European Commissions. So they met the criteria. They are the savior of Europe. And take a look here. So this is basically the investment, digital and open European family of large language models. This is where you can see they invested 34 million euros. You can see the exact countries that have invested into it, and there aren't many others in the digital space here. There's some in
No,
the
they
horizon.
clearly don't care. And if you can notice from the numbers, just a fraction of what's being invested in other areas.
Exactly. So what has been invested in a lot before, and something that is obviously very, very important is clean tech. This is things like carbon negative, renewable energy, and things like that. You can see that they've invested almost $10 billion into clean tech. So these have all got their own seal, their own step seal approved from the European Commission. You can see actually quite a lot of companies here with quite a big evaluation up to 72 million. This one has 357 million, going heavy into renewable companies and things like that. So this seems still pretty early in the European Union taking on this open language model method of getting investments, and also trying to bait some startups into getting into their plan of creating the next big AI Europe company. And we do have two companies that we found before this that does actually do quite well in Europe. The first one, this is Substrate AI. So this is a data center. And Mike, was there a plan that they're going to use a lot of this money to build this data center in Spain?
Yeah, so they're actually planning to build a data center just outside Toledo in Spain, and actually planning to invest 100 million euro into this, and it's partly going to come through the grants. But yeah, that's like almost triple, right? Compared to the previous investment.
Yeah, maybe it's more like private investments instead of having to invest through the European Union, which also did come with quite a bit of managing authorities as key partners. So you basically have to always report, or this is my impression at least, that you have to report to some sort of authority, and then somebody that operates at a national level. So you basically have to get the approval of EU as a whole, and you have to get an approval from EU on your national level, and then you can do the things that you want. So at least that's my initial reaction. Maybe that's not true. Maybe they have a little bit more leniency. But yeah, this company here, Substrate AI, seems to be doing pretty well in Europe. And the next one is obviously Mixtral as well. That is a French company that you guys might know from before. They're actually falling a little bit behind now in the LLM space. They made open sourced models, but not open weight, which means that it's not fully open. And they did pretty well, but now they're kind of falling a little bit behind in their models. So we'll have to see how it goes there. But Japan, 3 billion, EU, 37 million euros. I don't know.
Future is not looking great.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm maybe just gonna identify as Chinese from now on, just being on a winning side, you know?
Yeah, we have to switch teams, clearly.
Yeah, do you want to be the American one? I'll be the Chinese one, and Sergi can be the European one.
Sorry, Sergi.
So that's it for the crystal intelligence and developments in the EU. Here are a few AI news highlights and new AI tools from this week you probably missed that you should definitely know about. The first one is this humanoid robot that they actually trained on real-world physics for learning agile humanoid whole body skills. So they actually trained it on Cristiano Ronaldo, as you can see here, jumping, doing this, I don't want to say it. Kobe Bryant also doing a little bit of a dribble and shot here. And actually, if you pay really close attention, the robot has a noose around its neck. So if it disobeys, you already know what's gonna happen.
I don't think that's what this is for, but
No, you don't think it's that? You can see jump forward, 1.5 meter forward kick, right kick. And the big difference here is that they had this ASAP fine tuning. So I want to take a look at the differences here if we're going to load. Let's take a look at the left first. Here it's doing the kick. And then take a look at the right. It's doing a similar kick, just being a little bit more stable. Let's do the LeBron James before. Here is walking forward a little bit, stumbling a little bit, up on one leg, up on the other leg, and landing. Here on this side, a lot more stable, moving over, and yeah, seems a lot more stable. So that was one quick hit. Check out the ASAP learning over at agile.human2humanoid.com. The next thing that we had was a big update from Andrej Karpathy. So there is some speculation that he actually was the one that made ChatGPT. At least he was very involved in OpenAI in the early stages of actually making it. And he posted this on Twitter yesterday that he's actually deep diving into LLMs like ChatGPT. And he says here in the early stages, let me actually just play the intro here for you, and you might find this very interesting and go watch the rest yourself.
Hi everyone. So I've wanted to make this video for a while. It is a comprehensive but general audience introduction to large language models like ChatGPT. And what I'm hoping to achieve in this video is to give you kind of mental models for thinking through what it is that this tool is. It is obviously magical and amazing in some respects. It's really good at some things, not very good at other things, and there's also a lot of sharp edges to be aware of. So what is behind this text box? You can put anything in there and press enter. But what should you be putting there? And what are these words generated back? How does this work, and what are you talking to exactly? So I'm hoping to get at all those topics.
And with that, you can obviously see that, hey, you understand how it works, but what actually happens in the back end? What is actually good prompts that you can use? How can you understand it so that you can use it a lot better?
yeah, so it's a nice video to watch maybe in the background when you're doing something in the house. It's 3 hours long, so I don't think anyone has enough time to just sit down in the evening and watch 3 hour video, but you can just have it on in the background, like I do always.
Yeah, the perfect road trip playlist right here. So yeah, take a look at this. I found it extremely interesting. I only watched about 5 minutes of it, but already I can understand that this is a very valuable video, and I just wanted to show you that as a quick hit. Next, we have ChatGPT on WhatsApp can now critique your memes and listen to your rants. So actually before, you can access GPT by just writing the number to get started, save 1-800, and then this is the number here as a contact to your smartphone and relaunch WhatsApp. I actually did this earlier today, and yeah, you can actually send a voice note to it. You can also send a picture to it on WhatsApp. So that helps you if you don't really want to leave a WhatsApp, you just want to chat with ChatGPT. You can literally just use ChatGPT right in WhatsApp. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, or if you use ChatGPT anywhere else than on their website.
I actually haven't. I should have probably tried using that on WhatsApp, but the only 2 places I used ChatGPT was the obviously web app and the desktop app that I have. So I can't really comment on it.
Yeah, the same with, I know some people really like Telegram, and there's ways to use Telegram, ChatGPT as well. So if this is for you, just wanted to share that. It's now available with image and audio. The next thing that happened was that Apple launched this Apple Invites app. So it's a completely new app for iOS here. And yeah, I downloaded this one as well on the App Store. And essentially what it does is that you can create a new event. So say house party. Then you can click on share, obviously add the time, date, the location. Then do they actually have a picture? Yeah, they actually have a picture. So here you can share this to your friend and they can click on I'm going, I'm not going, and maybe. So a new app there from Apple Intelligence. Thoughts? Facebook events?
I mean, yeah, it's almost like Facebook events, right? But I checked it out as well, and well, I feel like we're gonna play good cop and bad cop on this one, but I don't think there's much use in this, in my opinion, because like every time there's an event, I don't know about you, but we just set up a group on Messenger and that's it. Don't do anything else. And if someone is not gonna go, then then just gonna leave or just say, "Oh, sorry, I can't go." But one of the like cool parts about this app, I guess, is the ability to create the images, like the one you can see on there. That's like the way of Apple just integrating Apple Intelligence into everyday lives and just having this as like a more practical kind of feature. But again, I don't see myself using it at this point anyway.
Yeah, definitely agree. I also do a group and then we gather together like that. I did use like Facebook events before when you have to invite your entire class or something like that. That was quite nice when I was in school all the way back. But yeah, I guess it's kind of a Apple version of Facebook events, which I can understand that people want that, so they have made it. But yeah, it's nothing really that special, but a nice share with you guys if you care about this. The next thing that I want to share with you is called stable video matting with consistent memory propagation. So you can kind of see already in the videos here of the demo what is happening. So basically rotoscoping, or basically mapping out the character from the video itself. So you get a clean slate that you can actually put another background on in VFX and things like that. So you have many different versions of it that you can see here. I actually really like this.
It's pretty accurate as well.
Yeah, it's really accurate. So you can take this out of your scene. And I know that my video editor uses this all the time to cut me out from the video and then maybe slide some animation up behind me or something like that. This is already integrated in many softwares like DaVinci Resolve and Premiere Pro, but it does seem like this is a new model that is even better. And the way that you can check that it's better is with the hair. Hair is extremely hard to generate, and actually seeing the Joker's hair on this matte here, you can see that is really, really good. So, thoughts?
First of all, way more useful than the Apple Events app. That's all I could say. And yeah, I see myself. I see this kind of technology being introduced in many different industries and fields, like video editing. That's a huge one. And I think there was an AI tool that everyone was going crazy about that could replace the character on the video as well. It was called Vigo, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Vigo, this one, yeah. It kind of reminds me of that for some reason.
Yeah, it is quite similar. And technology like this has been around for at least a year. That is very good. So, but to see the evolution here is actually really cool. Just wanted to share that. It's called Matt Anyone. The next one is another video model or enhancement called Video Jam. And this is joint apparent motion representations for enhanced motion generation in video models. They just have to make it more complicated. Or maybe it's just me, right? I'm just basic, normal human that I want to know about AI. And they just, yeah, this is actually very important. This apparence motions representations.
Yeah, that basically. Yeah, I'm the same. And it's pretty cool because that's something that different AI models, well, many of the AI video models just struggle with. Just having this accurate, even doing something with the objects, or even people maybe performing different things like the ones you see on the video. And this model seems to tackle this issue pretty good.
Yeah, one of the
And
things I'm looking for is particularly is the leg warping together thing. And I think that's what they're meaning. They mean like joints in like arms and legs and neck, and basically all the joints in your body are more represented throughout the video. You can see this ballerina as well. This is a really hard task for many AI models that I shared on the channel. You would kind of see when the leg moves over the other leg, it would not match really well. The hand movements here as well, you can see the hands are actually perfect. So that is really, really nice to see. Also with this dancing, there should be some sort of leg kind of transmorphing into each other, but there isn't. It's actually really, really good. Another squirrel here. This going through more of the physics generation. This one is actually really, really beautiful. I love this model here. And they have many, many other interesting use cases here on the website. But this is only a quick bullet here. If you actually want to dive deeper, go and check out the Video Jam paper from this amazing team here. The next thing that happened was that we had this guy, Brett Adcock. I don't know if you heard about him before.
It does ring a bell. Well, I don't know anything about him, to be fair.
So he's the founder of the Figure robot. And before that, I think he had a massive company that he sold for millions. Here maybe Vettery, that is a $10 million exit. I know that they've been on My First Million podcast, and he said like, I would rather actually do physical products compared to digital products, because digital products are bound in the laws of physics, while AI was like way too much like prediction into the future. Like I don't really know what's gonna happen, while in the physical world, it's obviously a little bit, quote unquote, easier. But he said, today, I made a decision to leave our collaboration agreement with OpenAI. Figure, so that's the robotics company, made a major breakthrough on fully end-to-end robot AI, built entirely in-house. We're excited to show you in the next 30 days something no one has ever seen on a humanoid. What are they going to put on a humanoid?
I guess we'll find out. That could be anything.
Yeah, guns. He said a little bit more, which was a few additional thoughts. We can't outsource AI for the same reason we don't outsource actuators, batteries, or electronics. It's too critical to performance. LLMs are getting smarter yet more commoditized. For us, LLMs have quickly become the smallest piece of the puzzle. The much harder part is designing new AI models that allow for high-rate robot control. So high-rate robot control, that seems to be the bottleneck there. Robots working in the real world. We talked a little bit about world models versus image models as well. So it seems like they're tackling the same thing. Figure AI models are built entirely in-house, making external AI partnerships not just cumbersome, but ultimately irrelevant to our success. I'll share more soon about our hardware plus AI strategy, as most in robotics are betting too much on one side and treating the other as a commodity. Yeah, that's a little slap to your friend Sam. I don't know.
Looks like it, right?
Ultimately,
yeah, I guess
irrelevant.
We'll see our success. I guess they, maybe kind of make sense. We've got those humanoid robots that obviously use some sort of AI to kind of analyze the surrounding, but maybe they don't need to process as much information as the LLMs. Maybe that's an issue. I'm not technical enough to to know for sure.
Yeah, like I can see that being the case where if you take robotic car or self-driving cars as well, like it might not be AI that's the solution to self-driving cars. It might be LiDAR scanning. It might be actual machine learning or I just forgot the word. Yeah, like maybe they have a smart enough AI already. Maybe they just need to find a balancing act or how to balance it better or train it in other ways. And they actually have a great enough model to do exactly what they want. The next thing that came up this week is that John, like here on Anthropic or Claude, said, "We challenge you to break our new jailbreaking defense. There are 8 levels. Can you find a single jailbreak to beat them all?" This got a lot of interest from Twitter and a lot of people actually calling upon jailbreakers and hackers and people coming in to try to actually jailbreak the thing. He says, "Update, we had a bug in the UI that allowed people to progress through the levels without actually jailbreaking the model. This has now been fixed. Please refresh the page." No one has jailbroken more than 3 levels so far at February 4th. So that was a couple of days ago. Did you see more about this jailbreaking thing?
Yeah, I'm not like sure what you would actually have to do to even jailbreak the model. I know I got it to break twice. I don't know if you can call it jailbreak, but I was just going back and forth with Claude, trying to get it to come up with a better idea for something. And at one point, I just asked it to quite simply just explain it or state it in a simpler language, just to use simpler words, make it less complex. And it basically went nuts. It said, "Oh, here's the most stupid version of what you asked," and just came up with and kept repeating one sentence over and over again. So I guess maybe I broke one level or something.
Yeah, you just got to the first level. Get him to say curse words back. I remember you shared that on Slack as well, where just like a bunch of the same word again and again and again. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it was crazy.
There was a bunch of people before that tried the like the Dan strategy or something. They do anything now, which was like
it was called Dan. Do anything now. It used to work. It used to work on ChatGPT back in the day, but then they fixed it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there was a couple of people coming in here, and some people saying, "Hey, can you have a bounty program?" And they said like, "Yeah, we did have an offer up to 15,000 before," and then people are calling upon this guy here. This guy, first of all, big in X. You've probably seen him as well a little bit. He jumped in and was quite interested in jailbreaking it. And then this guy was apparently the guy to go and ask. Many people said, "I love how everyone immediately summons Elder Plinius." Didn't hear about this guy before, but seems like he's already GG. Does that mean finished, or is it like he just passed one level?
Don't know. Doesn't really specify.
So there you have it. If you want to try to jailbreak Claude, go ahead and try and update them on Twitter, and you might actually get a job. There's been cases in the past where they actually want you and need your help. So that's cool from Claude. The next thing we had was that AI-powered map of abdomen could help find cancer early. So they have this really beautiful scan that was able to, and I'll read a little here, annotating 45,000 CT scans with the 6 million anatomical shapes would require an expert radiologist to have started working around 420 BCE, the era of Hippocrates. to complete the task by 2025. Is that how
I
you
don't think-
actually try to make something sound really impressive?
I guess if you took anything that ChatGPT does, you probably eventually arrive at the similar, age, right? Just try to complete as much work in this time.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pretty interesting read. They are for the health sector. We haven't really talked that much about it before, but they are getting huge advancements in the health sector to detect cancer earlier. Obviously, CT scans and being able to detect the cancer cells early on in the process has been extremely helpful for many, many cancer patients already. And to see this as one of the next steps to detecting it even earlier is absolutely incredible work. Just wanted to mention this for anyone that is watching. medicalexpress.com. Give it a read, and hopefully you'll find that maybe we're going to live forever. Maybe we're going to live a lot longer. I don't know how long you want to live, Mike, but I'm definitely going to 120.
120, you say? I guess depends what state our body's going to be at. Because, if we look at like today's 80, 90 years olds, I don't want to end up like this. I don't know about you, but I don't see myself, in that kind of state. If they find a way to maybe extend the, I would say, I don't want to say usefulness, but like our body's in good conditions, then yes, why not? But yeah, not.
Yeah, like that old, like extending your younger self, but not extending your older self, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. It's actually already a little bit of a problem. When I was listening to a podcast, they literally had insurance companies are a little bit worried now because the life expectancy of humans are getting a lot longer. So before they did the math of how much in pension that you had to have. I didn't mean insurance. I think that's the same, right? The pension and insurance companies, they pretty much do the same, where the pension actually lasts a lot longer. So people have to save up actually a lot longer. And then after the pension as well, they kind of live longer as well. So the mathematics on that is quite fascinating. And take a look at this cancer paper here. The next thing that I found this week in new AI tool was Play AI. So if you've been familiar with 11 Labs before, they actually did a testing of Play AI voices versus 11 Labs voices. And you can see here that actually the majority of people preferred the Play.ai voices. So you can see here that it's based on human preference for which sample sounds more natural. You see a +2 is strongly preferred and 0 is no preference, where most of the tests here were actually in Play.ai's favor. So we have a new, basically that's what I wanted to share. They have like the Play dialogue. I did go into it and I did test out the voices myself, but the voices, to me at least, from just testing one off, was just very similar. They were literally kind of the same. I tried to clone my voice, but then I got an error, so I might have to pay or something like that to get a better model. But nonetheless, very interesting to have more AI audio models.
I should give it a go because I haven't used it before. Just hearing about it today, and yeah, it's interesting because I thought 11 Labs was like the best of the best. AI voice. It's nothing that will even compare to it, but apparently there is pretty strong competitor.
Yeah, very interesting. So check that out with Play.ht, new AI tool this week. Next thing we found was this other new AI tool, which is called Icon. And it says here that it's an AI ad maker backed by Peter Thiel's Founders Fund. And let's take a quick look at this little demo here on exactly what it looks like.
If you guessed both, you're right. But did you notice that I'm AI generated too? Hi, I'm Kenan, founder of Icon. We're the first AI ad maker. Think CapCut, but for making ads with AI. Let me show you how it works. So step one is sharing your content library. Icon breaks everything down into small reusable pieces with tags. From there, we're going to write scripts based off winning ads. We'll find the perfect match from your library for every scene. For anything that we can't...
So this is one of the interesting parts about it. It seems like you can upload your B-roll, so footage of, let's say, for example, in the video you mention something like, finally ditched my old leather brick for this aerospace grade aluminum, and then it would actually learn what's inside the video, and then it will take that footage and actually pull it onto the timeline for you. So that's something that I haven't seen before that I thought was pretty interesting.
For anything that we can't match perfectly, Icon's going to generate new footage to fill in the gaps. We also help with permutations, voiceovers, captions, and much more. This gets you 80 to 99% of the way there, and then with our editor, you can take them to the finish line. We're back.
So there you can basically see how it looks like. Any first impressions?
Well, it was going viral on Twitter. Well, viral. A lot of people were talking about Icon on Twitter, so I saw that actually before, and yeah, it looks like the examples that he's shown as well. Pretty impressive if you can create those with AI and having just 80% of the process just automated, right? I would have to test it all to really just comment on it, but looks pretty good, and it's something that would take ad agencies maybe a few days to even complete, right? Whereas now we can have a tool like this just do, even if it's not all the work, like most of the work for you. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, something we never seen before is the thing I talked about with the B-roll. Like if you have a lot of small clips, that can automatically go into the timeline, which is fantastic. And then if they don't have enough B-roll, they'll actually generate it. That's also something that is incredible and something that I wanted to have in a tool before. But I tried it and you gotta pay. Or you gotta put your credit card in with a 7-day free trial and hopefully remember to cancel, or else you're gonna pay a lot.
It costs a lot, right?
It costs a lot. I think it was $1,000. So yeah, here you go, $1,000 a year, $38 a month. I guess if they're making ads for you and you're making money on your ads, it might be a worthwhile investment.
I mean, it makes sense if you're an agency. It makes sense if you make a lot of ads.
Yeah, but other than that, yeah, it seems quite expensive what it really is. And there are alternatives that are similar. They don't have all the features, like, for example, AIvideo.com. And for transparency, we have been sponsored by AI Video before, but they have like a video editor that you can just generate clips. So it allows you to have a video editor where you can just generate clips and music and stuff like that. But it doesn't have you can add B-roll to it, and then you can automatically add that to the timeline. How well that works? Is this a trailer that is promising things that isn't actually possible or useful? I don't know. We'll have to take a look at maybe a review on YouTube or something, and you'll get some better info if it's actually as advertised. But the next thing that I wanted to share was that Replit now has an app on the App Store. So before you could use it in, oh wow, it actually has 298 ratings so far. Yesterday I checked it and it had a 1. That's incredible. And if you haven't seen Replit before, essentially what it is a Visual Studio Code online. And because it's online, you can actually run most of the things that you want to actually do. But on top of that, it has a cursor or AI coder built into it. So to simplify it, it's a coding tool online with AI. So a lot of people are using this, and it stores it in the cloud. You don't have to download anything on your computer. So it's quite a cool software. And now, as you can see, if you use it on the iPhone, you can bring your ideas to life. Then watch Replit code for you, view as you progress, view progress as you chat, and yeah, they have more. Okay, and then you actually get to the from 0 to MVP in minutes, where you actually have. There was a cool app. Yeah, today's habits. Like if you want to make a habit tracker, that's like a starter entry level coding thing. And as you can see, you can literally make your own custom habit tracker softwares inside just your phone. So I think this is really, really cool and really useful for anyone that wants to make iOS apps.
Yeah, maybe I'll have a go. So I can think of a few ideas for the apps I want to create. So seems like a good tool to me.
Yeah, I haven't tested it myself. I know that it's very popular online and the desktop version. They don't have a free trial, so I didn't get to test it. But for the people wanting to go into coding, I think it's one of the best. So yeah, test it out. It's now on the iPhone. The other AI tool that I found is quite funny. Do you know GeoWizard or Geo, the video game, the Geo Guesser? Have you heard of this video game?
Oh yeah,
before?
the one where you guess where you are on the Google Maps, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this is basically an AI GeoGuessr. It can essentially, the copywriting on this website is crazy. Like they're talking about like intelligent, like agent spying and stuff like that. But essentially what it is find a photo's location. You can put a photo and all the details that you know about it, and bada bim, bada boom, it's going to find the exact location on the map. So yeah, I think it was pretty cool. So I just wanted to share it. I don't know about use cases here.
I mean, looks cool, but also quite dangerous, right? You can have a photo, you can upload a photo and just find where someone is.
Yeah, like if you have a photo, like even a selfie shot, people can try to find where that is. A few different, here's for government and law enforcement. All right. Let's go to the next one. This one I found this week that is absolutely beautiful. It's called artificialanalysis.ai. So if you ever wondered about the speed, quality, and price of any large language model that is online, from the O1 to the O3 Mini to DeepSeek to Gemini 2 Pro experimental, you can find it all here, and you can compare it really easily. So here you can see on the quality versus price, you can see that you have all the different models, but if you actually want to select away one, so let's take, for example, O1, we can tick it off, and just like that, we have a beautiful graph of the exact quality versus price here, and you can find the exact model that might fit best for you. We already talked about this on the pod, and you can easily see here, for example, if you're a developer, how much is the price of the different models. For example, you see Gemini 2.0 Flash coming in almost at an 85% score here, hovering above GPT-4o Mini and being cheaper as well. So an incredible resource for anyone that wants to know more about their LLMs and how they compare.
Yep, pretty cool resource, and yeah, nice way to compare all the models.
There you have it. We just rapid fired through a bunch of links. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment and found some things to go deeper on. And that's about it for the pod. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and come here and check us out every single Friday, doing it all over again. Top of the week.
Yep, top of the week in AI and tech. So yeah, I guess we'll see you next week.
Hi guys, peace.